Well, the first thing about match day for a Premier League commentator is to get there. There's been a lot of travel difficulties in my career. You might be on a train that gets delayed or even cancelled. You might be driving, get stuck in traffic. So I've spent far more time waiting for Premier League matches to start than actually commentating on them, because you really double down on the risks of not making kickoff, which is the one thing I think you can be criticised for. Of course, we get criticised for all sorts of things, but so getting there is important. To be honest with you, eating is important, being warm is important, checking the commentary position is important. Then the real business end, I suppose, is when the teams are announced and you've got to try and work out what the storylines are. Giving the team news is the first thing probably that a Premier League commentator has to do. And so if someone's not playing, you need to know why. If somebody is in the team, maybe a young player that you've never heard of before, so you've got to rally around, talk to a few contacts at the relevant club and try and get that kind of information. Just give you time to get set, seated and ready to go. And then I always think of this when you hear them say, well, let's join our commentary team now, and you think, I'm going to have to talk for the best part of an hour now, and it's me. And it's a kind of out-of-body experience, but it's a wonderful experience, one I've been lucky enough to have a lot of times. Well, this might seem a strange story, but I first came to the old Wembley in April 1958, and I was 12 years old, and my travelling companion, mate from school, came with me, called Andy Smith, and his dad was the dad for both of us for the day. But Woking were playing for this Amateur Cup, which was a big trophy. It was the amateur version of the FA Cup. Wembley had 71,000 in it for Woking versus Ilford, very southeastern dominated final. And Woking were expected to win. They'd beaten Ilford twice in the league that season already. They went 1-0 up just before half-time, and then in the second half, Ilford really gave Woking a bit of a going over. Now, my mate Andy couldn't watch, so I believe the first time I ever commentated was actually at the old Wembley Stadium, because I had to tell him what was going on with the goalkeeper, who's actually still alive, and I still talk to him about this, made some heroic saves, and in the end then Woking showed that it had a bit more attacking class and won 3-0, and it sounds very comfortable. It was anything but that. So that's always my thought, that my commentary career actually at the age of 12 started at Wembley Stadium. You know when the players say, oh, I'm going to play at Wembley, and what a thing it means to them if they've not played there before. And we always keep tabs as commentators on how many times people have actually played at Wembley. It's the same for a commentator. My first selection was for a schoolboy international for ITV, which was live on a Saturday afternoon into the old World Sport programme. And to be picked, England drew 2-2 in the game, and some of those players went on to become Premier League players, and our paths crossed many, many, many times after that. So every time you were picked to do a game at Wembley, whether it was a final, when Tottenham were playing obviously as a tenant, those games were very special. I think probably the England game that I remember the most was the 4-1 over the Netherlands in Euro 96. It was as good as I've seen England play. And then of course I was there a few days later when Gaza couldn't quite reach the ball to turn us into finalists in that particular competition. But that was a very special one, and I think anyone who follows the history of the England national team would mark it as I put a big star against that, and it was great to be holding a microphone. I can imagine what a thrill it is to come to Wembley Stadium for every lesson, every seminar, and have a course here over a number of years. It must be very special indeed. I suppose the hardest part is to disassociate yourself from the venue. I mean, it's a wonderful venue. Even for me coming back just to be a guest in a particular afternoon for the course that the students are on, it's still special. I know all the back doubles, I've been here so many times, but once you get here, the grandeur of it all. I love the old Wembley, as we all did. It's a generational thing, and this is, of course, a big upgrade. It's walking around the back of it, and obviously I spend most of my time on the gantry when I'm here, but going around seeing all the rooms for study, all the conference areas, the fact that it was built with much more than football on the field in mind, and that's a great credit to the designers. So Yeah. Can I do a degree now at my age? No, there's no specific team. To be honest with you, every match is of maximum importance. People say, oh, what's it like to commentate on a World Cup final? And I've done a number of those, or an FA Cup final, I've done a number of those. It's just the same as doing a pre-season friendly, really. If it's live on television, you're accountable and you need to know your stuff. And there might be more stuff to know on certain games, but usually they're the games that people think aren't so important, but they are important to the commentator. I've been lucky enough to be doing the job for 51 years, and I'm well aware that you could lose all that reputation such as it is in 51 seconds if you don't prepare. So the game that matters to me always is the next game.